Asheville City office meant to represent the community is empty tonight.
News 13's Kristen Aguirre is getting answers as to why there's no one working in the Office of Equity and Inclusion.
I think what's probably more important right now is that over this 8-month time frame, the entire department is empty.
News 13 took that concern to the city. In an email, the city communications specialist says they're close to making the hire. A move former city councilman Keith Young says is vital for residents.
Being able to have an office that can be the eyes and ears of the community and also look at different policies and procedures as they're laid out to put an equity lens on these different things and see things from a spectrum that, is not necessarily always represented.
The office is vacant as the city works towards a plan for reparations.
In the city of Asheville, we have our reparations resolution. That's very important, and it calls for the Office of Equity and Inclusion to be a clear role player in that policy moving forward.
The last director of Equity and Inclusion resigned back in August 2020. Kimberly Archie saying some department heads were hostile and she lacked support from the city manager's office.
How that plays out in the future moving forward is going to be crucial because we don't know where the department stands right now because it's completely empty.
Following Archie's resignation, Asheville City Manager Deborah Campbell issued a statement saying Archie was instrumental in raising awareness about equity and inclusion, but that culture change takes time and is not easy.
It is definitely alarming over an eight-month time period that an office is completely empty.
But the city says it's been doing the work. The city manager's office hired the Hawkins Company last year as a recruitment partner.
And that office has been set up to kind of sniff out some racism and systemic issues that have plagued this city for quite some time.
The city says the company crafted the position profile and finalists were assessed, and right now the city's checking references.
Because moving forward, the city's definitely going to need the Office of Equity and Inclusion to help with some of these issues that they're dealing with.
Once the director is hired, the city says that person will then go about filling the other positions in the department.
So I think it's time to either fill these roles or give the community answers as to why these folks are leaving this office.
Kristen Aguirre, News 13.
Sometimes there's just no place to go.
Vanishing emergency lanes caused by Interstate 26 widening in Buncombe and Henderson counties. It's created what Polk County EMS calls a significant life safety issue. News
13's Jennifer Emmert investigates the concerns and what's being done to protect the safety of patients, crews, and other drivers.
When Polk County EMS transports a patient to a Henderson or Buncombe County hospital, it's serious.
We wouldn't be going in these directions unless the patient was more sick than what the community hospital can have.
Timing critical for the nearly 300 patients transferred a year.
Already we know that the patient's, fairly important to get there at a reasonable time.
Interstate 26 construction can make reasonable, some days impossible.
It can have a impact on the patient, but on the caregivers as well.
To widen 16.9 miles of I-26 between US 64 in Hendersonville and Brevard Road in Asheville, traffic is squeezed into 2 lanes, in many places eliminating both emergency lanes. When there's a crash or increased traffic,
sometimes there's just no place to go.
On July 6th, 3 crashes, all westbound at Long Shoals Airport Road in Fletcher, caused I-26 closures at different points of the day. Construction zone crash data for 3 months this year shows as traffic volumes increased, so did incidents, amounting to 195 between February and April. Polk County EMS says that's increased their average transport times from 45 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes one way, forcing a letter to the DOT.
While these changes are needed, we have identified a significant public safety issue with the upgrades. The Polk County EMS system is suffering from delays, closures, and accidents causing extended travel times to hospitals in Henderson and Buncombe County.
Taking patients out of state to Spartanburg Memorial Hospital is quicker.
Going south is a whole lot better than trying to go north right now.
Still, some trips to Mission Hospital can't be avoided, leaving EMS short.
We've had a truck the other day that took 4 hours to get there and back.
What's the impact on Polk County?
Well, it takes a paramedic unit away from our county, so us being a small county, we don't have the 5 and 6 ambulances like a Henderson and Buncombe.
Polk County has 3. I reached out to DOT engineer Mike Patton.
They came to us with a problem. Hey, it's taking our ambulances extra time to get to Memorial Mission. What do we do? And we went right to solving that.
The DOT solution, more than 40 cameras that feed the mountain's $10 million Transportation Management Center. 13 are on I-26. The DOT's given 180 contractors and first responders in Transylvania, Henderson, and Buncombe counties, all experiencing slowdowns, access.
This is the screen that we have shared.
A Teams link shows 6 cameras live streaming 24 hours.
Right now you can see we run mile marker 31, 33, 35, 37, 38 and a half, and mile marker 40.
But Polk County hadn't been included.
That we didn't leave them out on purpose.
The cameras give EMS a chance to consider I-26 or alternate routes impacted by other drivers avoiding slowdowns.
They had sit at the same red light at least 4 or 5 cycles before it would turn, and every light thereafter.
Critical data for choosing between Asheville and out of state. News 13 found there's nothing to prevent the DOT from emergency lane restrictions. Engineers say it's necessary for the next 3 years.
Would it be unusual to close both emergency shoulders in a project like what's happening on 26?
Not really, no. It's necessary to get the work done and maintain 2 lanes of traffic. And I think that's the important thing everybody needs to understand, is that that's really the only way to safely keep 2 lanes open. If we had to do this work without that, in order to keep the workers safe and the traveling public safe, we would have to be doing it under lane closures.
The DOT is trying other steps, including a towing contract that's reduced response and crash clearance times to 10 minutes, and new ways to clear incidents quicker, all aimed at reducing travel times.
Close the road for a few minutes, come from the wrong direction, or to try to creep through that queue of traffic.
In Polk County,
It's things like that we're constantly talking about.
Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
A North Carolina liquor shortage is being felt here in the mountains. It's causing some bars to change their menus and deny some drink orders.
News 13's Anjali Patel explains this is another bump in the road for business.
After so long with no business, Imperial is one of many bars in Asheville trying to rebound.
The space that you're in right now, actually, we did not open it for over a year.
While COVID-19 no longer restricts the bar's capacity or hours, business is still far from normal. Manager Matthew Rentz explains.
I actually put in my liquor order earlier today before you came by, and half the stuff that I tried to order, I just couldn't get in.
He says a shortage of higher-end liquor has forced him to change his cocktail menu several times this summer.
Sailors is a French liqueur that the bar manager here says has been hard to find. He says once this little bit is gone, it's gone.
Which also means disappointing some guests.
I've had a few guests actually order shots of tequila or shots of mezcal, and then they get like maybe 1 or 2 shots, and then it's kind of just, sorry guys, we're done. You had the last shots.
And he says it's not just a hit to customers, but his bartenders too. Not being able to serve some of their top shelf drinks means leaner checks for customers and leaner tips.
It impacts their check, it impacts the guest experience, it impacts their overall tip out, and impacts a lot of things.
He believes the pandemic is playing a big role because it's led to worker shortages that have strained various supply chains. And he adds it doesn't help that North Carolina bars can only get their supply through one source, the local Alcoholic Beverage Control or ABC Board. The general manager of Asheville's ABC Board says they are challenged in getting certain brands and quantities, but have enough supply of the most common brands. He says they've stocked up due to supply and delivery fluctuations over the past year. And he emphasizes that while they may be short on certain brands, there are substitutes available.
This one's not empty, but I yet to see it in the store.
And while Rent says this situation has forced them to become more resourceful, it's still a tough situation for Asheville bars that are just trying to make up for lost time.
It gives a bad image to us all around.
Anjali Patel, News 13.